Yes, sir. Very good morning. How you doing? Mambo sawa, mambo mufti, mambo salama sana. Arsenal did not win the Premier League. Okay, I hope that you're doing well. Everything is going on well. It's another beautiful day. Surprisingly, kuna kadrizu luku if you're in the Nairobi area. I don't know where it's come from. The weather app did not say it. But it's okay. Just so brace yourself. It might be a little bit chilly this morning in Nairobi. But if you're somewhere else, Mombasa, where the sun is shining, or Kisumu, or Lodwar, or wherever you're watching us from, Isiolo, yeah, wherever you are, holla, good morning. Right, let's quickly introduce the panel, and then we'll tell you the topic of today because I'm excited. Start with you, Bobby. How you doing?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Niko amazing. Always happy.
Unasikiaje?
Nasikia vizuri sana. Nasikia fiti. Uko aje leo?
Mimi niko sawa. Okay, sijalala. But niko sawa.
Hii mambo tumediscuss. Busy and rest is very essential.
No, this one there was somebody who needed it more. So
Okay.
nili offer my services.
Okay. That's being a fan. Karibu kwenye
Jukwaa.
Yes.
Yeah, so but it's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. I was actually just thinking today, CJ is the closest to witness it. How you have somebody from when they're a kid, they can barely sleep. Sometimes you have to turn their head, watch, and then all of a sudden they're walking down the aisle.
Oh,
CJ will tell us how that will feel soon. I predict it in his future. All right. Cutie.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Hatuna nguvu, hatuna uwezo.
Tuko nayo, usiogope. Don't be afraid.
It is what it is.
Tuko sawa ba.
Na bado tuko hapa.
Ningesema kitu controversial but yenda kuambia off.
But bado tunawakilisha.
Number 2 is who keep making it.
Si ndio? Kuna trofeo mahali but tunawakilisha Reds. Unaona nimevaa red ya Reds.
Yeah.
So tuko tu but niko salama, niko firi kabisa.
Tuko sawa. Very good.
Yes, sir.
CJ, how are you? Looking sharp.
Good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, you know, everybody looks sharp.
Yeah, everybody looks beautiful. And it's like there's a touch of black everywhere.
Yes.
Right.
To go in sync. Yeah. How you doing?
Good. How's been your week?
My week has been great.
Missed you guys last week.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you.
Alitupatia warning.
Yeah. I communicate.
And I communicate, just like you always tell us. You have to communicate. Yes, you must communicate. All right. Right, the topic today. Last week we did When a Woman is Done. This week, today, we're doing When a Man is Done. Now, there was an original post I wanted to use, but then I found out later, after doing the diligence, and people told me that the gentleman who posted actually passed away, so in honor of his memory, we won't even put it up. But we will still have the conversation because it is an important one to have. I've asked this question on my Facebook page. y'all are done. Watu wanasema, there's a guy who's told me, mimi atajua kwa vile namjibu kwa simu.
Oh my God.
Kama ni one answer. So umesema, yeah. Akasema, okay, right, cool, bye. Hivyo, chunga sana. But I want to jump right into that. First of all, today I want to start with the ladies to see if they have what they think the signs are, and then we'll give you the actual signs as them. All right. So, and also you at home, you can join the conversation. What do you think are the signs when a man is done? The SMS line is 22422. You can start sending in some of those messages. Men, you can be as vocal as you can today. Tuambie wana, hata wajue. Hata Timo hapa, I wish hata ningefanya Vox Pops. Timo just hapa, mwangeniambia information. I know Ayub Abdikadir has some very pertinent, strong views, but he's still waiting for the Champions League, so we'll give him some time. But Bobby, what do you think are some of the signs? What have you either from experience or that you've heard? Yeah, that's some of the signs that it's a wrap.
From my experience, they're never really done. Like
they keep coming back.
They stick around. But before I answer, I was going through the comments on Twitter.
Right.
From our conversation last time.
No, right.
Yeah, and what's all wanasema the conversation ya upuzi, mbona tuna discuss hizo vitu. So I'd like to see if they're going to hold the same sentiments this week when giving men the platform to come up and, tell us how they feel and teach us. But I don't know. I think something that is coming up on both sides, the women's side and the male side, is that when people are done, you can see it. Like it's the way they treat you, the way they speak to you, or don't speak to you at all. It's in the subtle cues, and they're not so subtle if you love yourself enough to be able to see these things for what they are.
Right.
Unajua, like last time I said, kitu yenye si madeti tunambanga tukigroni, chali akikuchuna class, mkiwatoya ati huyo ndo anakulike, he likes you. And then you grow up thinking when people are mistreating you, they have an interest in you or they have a crush on you. Then it becomes ingrained in your brain that maybe they're just playing hard to get. You know, maybe it's just a game. It's just a chasing game. But something that I'm seeing is common in when people are done in relationships. It's in the way they react, in the way they behave, the way they speak to you, the way they act around you. And I feel like you should be able to see a clear difference if this said person is really, really close to you. So I can't really speak for men and say that I have maybe a clear idea of how men act when they are done. But I can just point out that something I noticed is in every human being, when they're very disinterested, it should be very easy to tell in the way they act around you or don't act at all. Yeah.
Right. And just to tell you something you said, I saw some of those comments, and as I was posting the question today, I knew some of them will come and I was ready for them because you see, that's why people need to watch the whole show. Sema mnaongea hiki kitu na kwenda Bayunga. Ayuba amefanya hizi mambo hapa hivi. What am I gonna do there? Let's stick to a segment. Yeah, watch the whole show. That's why it's Daybreak.
Yes.
Answer 6, ufike 9. And then another thing I learned and I was told online, na pia mjue akili si vyombo ya wageni, usiogope kutumia. Haya.
Akili chani.
Wow, really? Una chills leo. Umeziacha home.
That's what no sleep gives you. So, for you, what do you think? What do you think are some of the signs that ujamaa?
You guys say we're complicated, but I think men are complicated. Men just don't communicate at all. Unajua, when a man is done, he will not communicate to you.
Inaenda kughostiwa.
Hiyo ndio inaitwa kughostiwa. Yaani unajua mwanaume anaweza kughost. Ubaki ukijiuliza, what did I do? Bro, nilifanya nini mbaya hata uniongeleshe, you know? But I tend to think men, unajua men wapendi drama, wapendi maswali mingi, wapendi explanations. They don't like those things. So when you start actually giving a man that, you start giving them drama, too much noise, kuna venye tu au they step back and just go silent on you. So you start asking yourself so many questions. And the problem with men is that they don't communicate. That's my problem actually with you guys. What I've observed is that you guys do not communicate. Willis, utaki kuongea.
Sisi tuna communicate.
Nakuuliza. Wena CJ mna communicate. But most men wana prefer kukua laid back, kunyamazilia vitu. Unajua, mwanaume anaweza nyamaza for 2 years, like hasemi nini namkula, you know. But at the end of the day, unapata mwanaume anapitia. Yani anakapitia, but they never talk, they never really speak. So you have to know your person well, because if you don't, utaend up kujiongelesha wewe mwenyewe kwa hiyo nyumba, because they never even pick that phone to text you and tell you anything. So uko tu hapo unafikiria mwanaume ako sawa, you think your man is good, but at the end of the day you'll be surprised. Alisha walk out mentally ameenda, but ako tu hapo na wewe, but he walked out long time ago. So I think with men, they don't really communicate. I think you wouldn't know. Because you guys knew cheza safe sana, like, tuko tu sawa. Ananyamaza tu, alafu boom.
Ama anaanza kunini. Anaanza kujenga elsewhere.
Hiyo sana, anaanza kujenga.
30 years, anakuja sema, oh, by the way.
You know, at least with women, as we told you last week, at least women we communicate. But
in fact, you said last week that for a woman wacha kucommunicate.
Wejua sasa hiyo ndio shida. Now with men, wananyamazanga tu the whole time. They just go silent. Yatamka, aende job vizuri, arudi jioni. So unafikiria ako fiti cause anaenda job na narudi home, you know. So if he's doing all those things, unafikiria situko tu sawa. But in real sense, a man will never communicate. That's the problem with men. Sijui hii story ya kulea maboy child na kuambia zile za by the way, mwanaume hafai kulia. Inaanzia hapo. Mwanaume afai kuongea, wewe ufai kusema feelings zako. Wewe si ni mwanaume, kaa nazo kimano. That's where the problem comes, you know. So that when this guy is growing up, when this man is growing up, yeye anagrow akijua, nikijionyesha na feelings zangu, nitaka kama gangster points zinashuka. Surely, sasa hata zikishuka zinakusaidia na you get. But you guys have that thing of, gangster points zitashuka. I'm not supposed to tell my feelings. I'm just supposed to take it like a man. And you see, that's why the research came out that it's actually most men who commit suicide, because in a point, they can't take it anymore, Willis. In a point, you bottle up those things, and then now you go, you know. But for women, at least, if we talk about it, if you ukiongea, you know, they say a problem shared is a problem solved. And I believe that is true. But umesema nyi wawili mna communicate, but I don't think mna communicate. Really,
let me change the phrase and say I've learned to communicate.
Oh, yes. You guys learn to communicate with time. But mkianza, nyi upima tu rada. Unanyamaza, tunaona msee anakuja anasoma gazeti. Lakini hasomi gazeti in real sense. Zile vitu zinapitia kwa hiyo akili. Ati ana watch news, anafanya nini. Hiyo gazeti sasa tu ni nini. Tu anakucheki tu hivi but anasoma gazeti. But hapo ndio nimesema like inaanzaga na hiyo childhood trauma, like unaambiwa wewe ni man. Chali afai kulia, mwanaume afai kulia. So by the time una grow up, you're not actually able to communicate to anyone. You bottle up those feelings and then you end up ending your life because you can't take it anymore, you know, and it's really sad for men, yeah.
Right. Our resident Ivan Amu says, QT is spot on. Men, my time don't see the agency ya kukushow. I guess because to them, that's what women do. Talk a lot and express. These are her words, not mine.
Yeah. I like that you're reading it in her voice because you
talk a lot and express a lot. Men just don't talk, but the cold becomes intense towards the real end. Unaonyesha flames.
Hi, Namu.
Yeah, flames. So, relax, alafu, the cold becomes hot. CJ, why do you think it is? Because she's also mentioned the fact that I guess there's that element of upbringing. But why do you think that, first of all, do you think, like she said, men don't really talk? And then why?
No, men talk. They just talk where they will feel safe. Men talk. I've said this here several times, that most of the secrets of men are with women. It's only the only difference, the variance is which woman has those secrets, because they have their colleagues. Some men talk more to their female colleagues than they talk to their partners because they feel safe, appreciated, they feel energized there. Some of them will talk to their sisters more. Some of them will talk to their neighbors. Some of them will talk to ladies who in the places where they go out for social, events. So it's not that men don't talk. If you were to sit with some of the ladies who serve, for example, in the social spaces, they will tell you a lot about people that they know. Someone would come there, take his drink, sitting by himself, and he's going through something, and as he's being served, he begins to share his life. Some of them hear a lot of things in those kind of spaces. So it's not that men don't talk, but they will weigh the repercussions of that conversation, which sometimes then makes it difficult for them to communicate with their partner, because every man wants to be a hero to his woman and to his children. And that then may bring up the issue of whether he wants to express his weakness to his woman. He may, for example, be feeling that he's not being treated right or being undermined, and he may express it in subtle ways, subliminals. But if that keeps on going, then yes, he will withdraw. So he won't talk about it and keep on going through his duties. Now, that depends again on how he's socialized. If he is somebody who is generally responsible, he will stay with you. He doesn't want to get you off, but he will want to take care of you. But then he withdraws himself, emotionally detaches himself. But it'll feel like, well, since I'm with QT in this, I'll keep paying the bills, I'll pay the rent, I'll provide whatever she needs. But that is it. So it becomes more of, here just roommates, nothing deep, nothing intimate. Pull up because he feels he's not being. Just as women love to be heard, men love to be heard. They want to know that they're being heard. So if he feels that he's not being heard, he keeps quiet. When a woman feels she's not being heard, she raises her volume. And that doesn't mean she's shouting. It means she will talk about it more. She doesn't have to shout, but she will keep pressing until you listen, or she will do something else. But for a man, when he feels he's not being heard, he withdraws. And that is where now, by the time he is done, generally men really don't get done. By the time a man gives up on something, my goodness, that's really, really something. Because as I said, there's this element of us, wanting to be a hero to somebody. So there's always this thought of, so how do I walk away from Roberta? She needs me. And I will want to find every kind of way to stay in her life so that I become the hero. And that's familiar territory, unless she really keeps on pushing me away. And then somehow I'll believe that, well, that's just a season, we'll go through it, and then she will be fine again. If I am there for her, she will need me. By the time a man leaves, he has seen every kind of either abuse or disrespect, in whatever form that they would define that. He has seen it to a place where he feels he's choking and he's dying. So most men generally would not just leave. They wouldn't. It's just that they feel they're also not being heard, and it's something they don't want to keep on talking about. You see, women, when they raise children, there's a way they treat those children. Kitty talks about, men will just go, but if a mother has a child, she doesn't even want those children to know that she's going through struggles and weakness. Now, for a man, a woman is more like his child as well. That relationship has very many dynamics. This is somebody who is dependent on you for emotional strength, for mental strength. You love them, you lead them. So you do not want to get to the place where you keep on showing your weakness to them sometimes. And if he doesn't feel that he will be heard, then he will withdraw.
Then it beats the logic, Willis, of why are you in that relationship if you cannot communicate with your partner?
No, the thing is,
it beats the logic.
You've been trying to communicate, but
they're not listening. But then it's time to be done, Willis, because it means, no, honestly, Willis, you cannot tell me that you cannot communicate to your partner. If you cannot communicate to your partner, that's already a problem. You're already, in itself, it's a problem. So you want to go to a bar and speak to a bartender. Wow, that makes your life easier. Good for you, but you're not helping me. But you're not helping me, Willis. You need to talk to me. That one, I refuse to accept. CJ, if you're in a relationship with someone and you cannot communicate to them, that is already a problem. You know that. So men learn how to communicate with time, With time, they learn how to communicate. If I don't give you a space to communicate, then you're with the wrong person. By the way, that's what it's time to press, but just drops mic and walk away.
Now that's where the challenge is, because a relationship is not just a switch that you decide today, since we can't communicate, I'm off. The emotions that are already invested, time, there's hope that was sold to each other. And there's always going to be that thing that you're hoping that this thing will turn around. Fine. On both sides. People don't give up on relationships just overnight like that. Because there's a part of you that attracted you to this person and made you believe there was something that could work out of this. So you'll keep on wanting to see whether it will work or not. By the time you're even realizing that, okay, this person doesn't communicate, let's leave communication alone. Talk about even things like abuse. Why do people find it difficult to leave an abusive relationship? Because they're still looking for the things that they feel are positive within that. You would expect that if this man raised his hand today, the woman will leave tomorrow. She won't. She'll come and talk to you about it and say, by the way, he nearly beat me up. And then you'll say, come and stay with me. That man will harm you the next time. Then the next morning she'll tell you, we talked about it. We sorted it out.
He said sorry.
Yeah, because emotions are involved, and emotions are not logic. It would be easier if we relate only from the point of logic. But then now your heart is involved, and your heart is so fluid that sometimes your mind is telling you one thing, but your heart is not letting your mind do that. And it takes time for the mind then to be programmed to hear that, look, this thing is not going to work. And yes, I still have feelings for this person, but the right thing for me to do is to go.
Can I just say, I love listening to CJ, because something I'm learning is that maybe when men are speaking, we're not really listening. And this is what brings about the gender wars sometimes, because everyone is trying to be right. Everyone is trying to give their very correct opinion. And as women, we have our own feelings and we have our own frustrations. And you could see when Cutie, you know, because it's like, yeah, you guys, mbona hamtuongeleshi? Yeah, like kwetu, I make sense. Sema ukweli.
I make sense.
Yeah, I make sense because Bono kuna mimi na cause sisi mimi nikiwa na shida nitakushow na ukirepeat nitakushow tena na nitashinda nikikushow, but you guys you don't want to speak, you don't want to say. But something I'm seeing from even just the interaction you guys had just now is that maybe we need to listen. Like, we don't need to fight, we don't need to always be right, and women don't always have to be right, men don't always have to be right. And there's a friend of mine told me, these things are not always black and white. You know, you can think, if I don't want to be anymore, if I don't want to be with you anymore, the right thing to do is leave. But you see, it's not a yes, no, it's not a black, white, it's not, there's so many other factors that are ziko hapo zenye lazima to consider. Hizo vitu zote CJ amesema, time, emotion, hizo investments zote. And then also, just the childhood trauma, the upbringing that you've had, the way you've been socialized in the society, all these things inachangia to who you end up becoming. And I'm not giving an excuse for men ati ni sawa we learn, because hata sisi place tuko atuku grow up tukijua communicate. Ni kujiteach, whether ulianza kujiteach class 6 ama ukiwa campo, ama me I started a couple years ago. I wasn't as communicative as I am, and now look at me, the ambassador of communication.
Communicate.
Yeah, like it's because I learned that if it's something I can teach myself in my age, it's something anyone else can learn. And it's something that I see that since I've been able to do it, I see my dad do it, I see my mom do it. Bradhangu mdogo, I won't air you, like he's trying, you see, like it's a learning thing. It's something anyone can do. So, what I'm hearing CJ say is the men need a safe space. And Shazmin always says this is, before you point a finger to the next person, ask yourself, what am I, mi nafanya nini kuchangia kwa deterioration ya relationship? Is it that when he's going through something, I'm not even present enough to notice? Is it that when he's telling me, I don't listen? Is it that previously when he has come to me and said all these things, I've not been keen, I've not been kind, or I dismissed him? Like, what is it? Mimi nimefanya nini kuchangia? Because if your man is feeling safer to go to the bartender and speak to them, you should ask, like you should ask yourself, ni nini before ya kwanza, ya nenda tu kwa bar, ya nenda. Jiulize pia wewe, am I creating that safe space for him to be able to come to me and say? Because what CJ said, ni kama hack, ni ka secret ya men. Amesema, they speak when they feel safe. Yeah, they speak. And this is something I've seen in myself. I had a friend who we had issues earlier. He's a boy, a man, sorry, and I just meant gender. Okay. But like, but I noticed when we were having conflict those days, like kwa hiyo beginning of our friendship na hiyo kujuana, it was hakuwa ananiongelesha, and I used to get so frustrated because kama tumesema sini mabeshte, si tubonge. Jumi, it's so easy for me to speak. It's so easy for me to express myself emotionally, especially. And then now that like we've been friends for years, I'm starting to see that I can see the effort. I can notice it. Like, I'm very keen. I see, and it makes me feel so good because I can see the progress. I don't know if it's the way I am that's rubbing off on him, or he's just growing up and he's decided, yo, I need to learn this communication thing because I see the benefits. Sometimes that small communication, it solves everything else, because all you needed was a safe space to be able to come and offload, and someone who's listening, and someone who teaches, someone who allows you to be vulnerable. Na pia wewe, you meet them halfway by using your voice and teaching yourself to speak without iyo fear ya, last time nilimwambia akani teach, because lazima mumitiane halfway, because if all of us tushinde hapa tukikuwa na hizi gender wars tukisema maboya haongeangi, hawajafundishwa, hawajazoea, na si madem mnatuambia tunaongeanga sana, tushinda tukiti. Okay, so to do do we want to fix these relationships? Do we want to be on the same page?
Yeah.
Or what is it that what is it that we're going towards? I'm learning that you have to have the grace, you have to have the kindness, whether you're coming from the victim side or the perpetrator side. You have to be very present and aware and say, yo, squeezy Willis aniongeleshangi. Is it that akiniongelesha mi mlenga? How can I do better instead of Willis aniongeleshangi? Maybe Willis anenda gym, akona Willy, akona family, akona job, akona, all these things.
She's right.
Yeah, all these things. But if I do not speak and tell him how I feel, how will he know he's offending me? How will he know he's making me mad? So thank you, CJ, for everything you said, because what I'm learning is tusikizane. Si lazima mademo kwena pia si tunakuanga na maboy wa kujana pia sisi it's okay, kila mtu ako na side yake, kila mtu ako na experience yake, kila mtu ako na venye anakuanga, but ikifika hiyo point, if you want the relationship to work, si tusikizane, tukam tu chini to lower ego na tusikizane. That's what I'd say.
All right, so I guess the other thing is, first let's take the question, but then we've talked a lot about this safe place.
Line for an offering.
Ladies and gentlemen, prophetess Roberta.
DM me, I'll send you my number.
Yeah, so there's a camera lady anaitwa Leah. Every time I see her in this organization, I have to scream her name. She's here. Ever since she was hired. So Leah! Yeah, so it's done. Hata nikiwa kwa TV, nita scream. All right, so the other thing is this. I guess as we are talking, people then would ask, there are probably ladies who are watching and they're like, then what is a safe space? Because to use the word safe space, men will only talk when they are safe. What is that? CJ, how does that look like?
You see, if I can come to you without the fear of repercussion, knowing that you will listen, whether what I'm going to say is palatable or not, but at least you will give me an ear and try to understand, that's a safe place. That does not remove the element of reaction, because it might hurt you, it might get you offended. That when I speak to you, I must also not remove that. I shouldn't remove that. But then it should be from the point of, at the end of it, we are trying to work out this thing. Like whatever information I've given you, you have to think about, he brought it to me. If he brought it to me, he trusts me. He wants to work it out. So let's use a case where somebody comes to you and says, I've been seeing somebody else. What do you do? So if they've started saying that, then the first thing you've done is lift the TV and break it. See, that conversation ends, right?
Yeah.
The conversation ends. Did you get the detail? No.
No.
Did he gain your trust? No. Have you solved the problem? No. Because you allowed your emotions to overtake you at that moment. That's where now you try to hold your emotions, find out, ask. How long has that been going on? So what's going on?
But you're allowed to have an initial outburst, right? Because
that's what I wanted to say.
That is what I said.
Because you say, yo, babe, guess what? I've been seeing somebody else.
Listen.
Okay. So yes, tell me, why?
Listen, I said that. Roberta will bear with it. I said that. I said that.
You're allowed.
When I am talking to you.
Yes.
Your
reaction is valid.
Reaction. But then that reaction should not sabotage whatever is happening at that particular point.
Okay.
See, I learned this with kids. If a kid is coming to tell you that they have done something, how you will respond or react will determine whether this kid will ever talk to you again or not.
Yes.
If they come and they're telling you something that they did that you feel is wrong or crazy or something, then you scream, they get scared, they coil, it's the end of it. You'll never hear that story. And maybe what you need to hear is still there.
Yeah.
But you have overreacted in the beginning, so this kid just shuts up, so you don't really get to know, and they will never come back to you. So you are weighing between what you need to get, which is the bigger picture, and your initial reaction. So yes, you are mad. Yes, you're getting upset about this thing.
And it's okay to communicate that and say...
It is.
Yes.
But you teach yourself to allow this conversation to come to the end. What did this person come to say? Because if I come and say, so there's this girl we're on TV with, she's called Roberta, then they're like, I always knew
and you haven't even finished.
I'm not even finished. I always need. I've seen the photos. I've seen all of this. I've seen how people chat with it. See, I'll keep quiet. I'm not going to tell you anything.
Yeah.
So you won't even know what I came to say. Yeah. And then you lose the trust that I have for you, and you'll never get to know what I was going to say about Roberta or something. Then now you will be looking for everybody else that I'm dealing with and become very paranoid. So the thing is, yes, you are allowed to feel upset, get offended or something. But it's something you got to learn, Willis. I'm telling you that because I had to learn it. I had to learn it, especially with my boys. And so today, if somebody does something and I am told, you need to handle this case, I think, I was telling my wife the other day, I think I've really grown in that because I'll wait for the next day when I'm completely calm. In the past, I would hear something and I'm like, how could you do that? Yeah. Because I was actually living my fears through them.
Yes.
It is me imagining that I am in that place. Whatever they're doing, I'm imagining myself in there and probably reliving my history, mistakes that I've made before. And when I see this person in there, I think they're going to do the same thing that I did, and I'm reacting to deal with the me who was the kid at that particular point. So I'm reacting on this person over things that I'm trying to react on me about. So I realize when you do that, they don't talk to you. They don't. So I had to learn how to step back. Like you get the info, you hear what's going on, and inside you see things.
You hold it.
But you need this person to
talk, to tell you,
to trust you, yeah.
Then ask the questions. Ask every question that you need to ask. At that point, there's the element of trust. So you can actually express your anger through the questions that you ask. So why did that happen like that? Why did you do this? Why did you tell me this? What would make you go here? By the time you are done, and then you even now express that you're not happy with this person, at least they know.
Yes.
You listened.
Yes.
They know that there is that aspect, that you listen. And they'll be waiting for any kind of reaction, they'll be thinking, well, maybe you will decide to walk. Maybe you won't talk to them again. Because when you do something wrong, for example, Willis, you know you've done something wrong. You know it. So by the time you're going to tell somebody you've done something wrong, you're already beating yourself for that.
Yes.
And that's why you're actually going to talk about it, because you feel bad about something that you have done. Now, if you come in and the initial reaction is for me to beat you for you being wrong, and yet you're already beating yourself, I'm not solving any problem. So I need to know that there's a way out of it. Then now I can talk to you about what you have done. And then you get out of it. So yes, it is okay for you to feel either upset, disappointed, or something. But then that's where the emotional intelligence aspect comes in.
I want to go back to what CJ started well by saying.
He started well.
He started well by saying. The other statement, he started well by saying that a man needs that safe space of growth, and that. Also for women, I think, even a woman, the way she will react the first day is not the way she's going to react maybe 3 months later, 6 months later. CJ, it's a two-way thing, and it's a process. As you said, it's growth for both the man and the woman, because at the end of the day, the same way it will come to a man growing into this safe space, because you'll not be insecure all this time. I mean, you've been with a person maybe for 3 years. By the time you're getting to 4, 5 years, the woman will have changed. Maybe they will have given you that space. So
That's
I repeat, it's a two-way. No, it's not it's not a
2
perhaps.
years.
No, I wanna explain to CJ that the same way he's saying that men need that path of growth is the same way a woman will need that emotions. Women will react, of course. The TV, of course, it will go to the wall maybe at some point. I'm just saying. But let me tell you something, Willis. After some time, this woman will be like, you need to read your man's reaction, and you'll be like, I think I did. Even with kids, the way you've said with kids, they come to learn with time. By the way, sikufanya poa hiyo time ingine. Na reaction yako tu, it speaks for you. As a man, CJ, your reaction will speak to you. So I'll say this, it's growth for both parties. For me as a woman, I grow with time. I grow with time because my emotional state, by the time we start dating, and by the time I'm becoming your wife and we have kids, very many things change. At the end of the day, very many things change. So the way I reacted while we
Lakini mtu akuvunja TV mwache.
Tafadhali.
Mwache tu.
TV msivunje.
Mwache tu.
CJ tu alipeana example kwa songa nayo.
Growth is very intentional.
Yeah.
Growth does not happen because time has passed. Somebody can remain stagnated emotionally even for 20 years. sometimes you talk to people and same issues that you were talking to them about 5 years ago
In high school.
are still the same issues right now because somebody has refused to grow. So for us to grow, I have to be very intentional, be very honest with myself that I did not act or react very well the other time. And then I need to own up probably and talk about it and say, look, the last time we talked, I'm sorry that I overreacted and I'm working on that. That then will reignite that trust. But to expect you to come back to talk to me when you feel that I'm going to blow up and say we're working on this thing, it won't really happen. It has to be now from my side because there's a way I have made you feel as well. So I have to come back and own up and say, listen, I'm sorry I reacted the way I did. I shouldn't have because you were the one who came to talk to me.
Yes.
And I didn't let you finish. So I'm going to work on that. So then we can work from that particular point because there's the thing of you will fear that reaction. This is how people just don't tell people that I'm coming home late. Because
Yes.
like, yo, you just rather come in because you say I'm coming late. Man, you'll die from wherever you are before you come
Chris,
in.
sijambia sijai story.
So it's true, but on both sides,
Growth.
we have to learn. But growth is very, very intentional. It doesn't come because time has passed. Neither does it come because you're growing older.
Yes.
You can get to 55 and you've not changed from whom you were when you're 15, then you'll find somebody else who between 15 and 20, they've grown so fast because they've determined to grow, they've learned, they are very willing, they yield, they will get lessons. You see, like Roberta Gibson talking about the things just changed. It's a very intentional thing. You don't just wake up and you've grown.
Yeah. You know, all right, so there's some, even Yanni, it's become so interesting. I forgot to ask, but I did ask, so just in case there's feedback, you can let us know, but we can put up that question there as I go through what all of you were saying on Facebook. You have very interesting views here, both from the men and the females. So this is on my Facebook because I said the last end of my statement says, let me know and I'll read them out during our show. This is me keeping my word. Jen Wajeri, you say lack of communication and intention from your partner, because the question I asked was, what are the signs that a man is done? June says, excuses every now and then. I don't know if that's, but yeah. Kioko Mutua, when we never talk, you're on your own. And then we have Jennifer Mudhamo says, when a man cuts off communication, that's it. Vincent Lova Kisia, misunderstanding of one's love activities, e.g. other things. Lack of communication being disrespectful, rudeness, and stubbornness. Okay. And then a tired man is a bitter man. Anything from her irritates him. That is Mujukwa TZ.
Yeah.
And then Paparazzi Emmanuel says, when a man no longer makes sweet or romantic gestures, men don't say, I love you anymore. I mean, if anybody don't tell you I love you anymore, Nikonoma. Vincent Odhiambo is the one who said, yeah, the way someone answers your phone calls tells a lot. Hi. Hi. Sema.
Nini.
Honorable Alando Nasir says he comes on late and doesn't concentrate on all affairs. I think that is Nini. And Purity says that for men, it is so subtle. Inakujanga to sneaks up on you. And then I'll read finally Frank Wesley because there are many. Let's say the lady is, and this is, I don't know. Let's say the lady is expensive and she's expecting a lot from you, yet she knows that spending what you don't have is hard. Okay. Yeah, different personalities there. I won't jump deep into that. But I guess, so again, we have about 10 minutes. So there are some responses to the question. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of those responses that you have sent us on 2242. First of all, this is the question so that you can respond to then we'll read the responses. All right, put it up. Boom. No boom? Okay, put it up one more time. Boom. Still nothing. I give you one more chance. Put it up.
You have to say the
boom.
magic word.
Please. Okay, put it up, please. The question of the day, please. All right, let's take the feedback then.
I think there was a man there.
Who was like, yeah, the man there is done. Who is the man? All right, right. If you could put it on this other one as well so I can read it. Because there, siwezi ona sana. Queen kutoka Kangemi anasema, when a man is done, it's easy to see. E.g., kukam home late, kukosa kukuongelesha, and even sometimes mwanaume anatoka na unaweza sikia ameanza life kwingine na amekuachia kila kitu kwa nyumba. Yenyewe that's someone who's there. But kama ni mtu ako na watoto huwa anashughulika tu kama kawaida. Hiyo kuacha si lazima tutoke na vitu. Weka na hizo vitu, si to press. Si ni vitu nataka. Aya, silence is our remedy. Talking to them a lot, they take it for a weakness on your side. They always fight to dominate in everything. Okay, when a man is done, he goes mute on you. He stops caring. Whatever he was doing to you reduces. Mostly it happens when a lady tends to be too selfish and makes everything in the relationship just to be about her. A man never tells you it's done. He walks out of your life. I'm walking away. I agree with QT. Men do not communicate. I think you should say some men. Hey, mimi back in 2016, niliachwa bila neno. It took me ages to move on because I ended up blaming myself. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Ole sana. One sign Willis, comma, when a man is done, is that he won't refuse anything he's asked. That's true. Unataka rent chukua. Unataka gari chukua. Nini twende steep. When you see a toad jumping in broad daylight, know that something is after its life. In short, when you notice a change in his behavior, know something is wrong and act fast. A toad jumping ushitara usiwe umeandika mamsemo. Natasha watching from Viga. When a man is done, he will just keep quiet. I mean, utajulia tu kwa reaction. How do you tell someone your problems and you end up being challenged and being blamed for the same? Women will always apportion blame. And I guess we need to say some women, but that is just the journalism talking. All right, so because it's not all of them. Sure. But you can see a lot of people I've noticed a thread in this thing. Kwani hii kukuja home late, mtu hawezi kuwa anafanya kazi.
Kazi gani Willy? Kazi gani?
Sima hustle kwa hizi streets.
Wapi? Tunawajua, tunawaona.
Korada.
Ama it's the communication of...
Yeah.
You know, the hardest person to fight is the person you love. You never win. And that's why sometimes some people will find it easier to stay away.
Right.
Because it's both an internal battle and external. How do you fight? How do you program the same heart to fight the person that you love? Because you care for this person and then you're upset with them. How are you supposed to deal with that? Sometimes when people stay away, it's because of that kind of confusion. It's like the computer hung. So they'd rather stay off and have the peace. Not necessarily that they're fighting, though that also normally escalates issues. Because if I don't go home, then you begin to think I'm staying away because I'm upset. But sometimes I'm staying away because I'm confused. I don't know how to handle that thing.
Or even how.
Yes. And then there'll be a reaction that you see you're coming home late and you're doing this, you don't even care. So we're not talking. So we keep on shifting issues into other things. I think the biggest thing that both sides have got to learn is how to express themselves and how to allow the other person to express themselves. And every conversation needs to have an end goal, which is we want to fix something.
Yes.
So that even if I didn't like what you said, after it, the question is, so what do we do with this information to make things better for us? There has got to be an end goal. Otherwise, there'll always be blame against blame. You did this, I did this, the other day you did this. No, you did this the other day. No, before I did that thing, you did this the other day.
Yeah.
It never really gets to end. So communication must be very precise. It must be very, there has to be a very clear goal about what we want to do. We're talking about this because we want to solve this, we want to save the relationship, we want to grow, we want to become better, not to hurt each other. Right.
And I'd advise that people be very deliberate about their intrapersonal relationships as much as the relationships they have with the people that they love. Hakuna relationship yenye happen very spontaneously. It takes a lot of work. The same way wewe mwenyewe ukitaka kuishi lazima make sure umedishi, umekunywa maji, umerest. It's the same way when you love someone, you have to make sure you communicate, you care for them, you're very intentional about your love. And we all need it intrinsically. Like it's a very deep need. We all want to be loved. We all want validation. We all want to feel needed. And that's just how it is at a very social level. So the way you put so much effort in taking care of yourself, you have to make sure you put the same effort in being friends or being in other relationships with other people. And choreni hizi stories za kuargue sana about who is right or who is correct, especially if you're in a conflict where you love someone. Venye tu CJ amesema, the goal should be where, and if someone comes to you also, don't think about it as anakuja na issues, udem ni mnaging. Think about it as, imagine ameni trust. CJ said this, imagine ameni trust enough kunikujia mimi, kuniambia hizo vitu zote zenye. Because if they didn't care, then they wouldn't put in any effort to come and tell you, I didn't like when you did this. So when guys are talking and trying to solve conflict, it's the two of you against the issue as opposed to the two of you against each other. Make sure you remember that your goal is to save the relationship and fix things. Work on your emotion. I love everything CJ said today. I wish I see Julia.
Emotional intelligence.
Work on your emotional.
We should bottle it up and sell it.
Hizo vitu zote. Hizo vitu amesema about learning to control your emotions. Don't think like you'll always get away with a crazy emotional reaction. One day you'll do something and it'll be the last you'll slap someone and then they never wake up, and then who's gonna listen until you loved them? It's as simple as that. Are you taking here a big thing to happen so that it's in that small reaction that you have? So work on your emotional intelligence. It puts you way ahead of even your peers or everyone else around you. When you teach yourself how to hold back on reaction, how to listen better, how to understand, utapata mki-argue mkiwa heated, kuna vitu zilikuwa zinakupita because you weren't listening to understand. You just wanted to listen so you can have something next to say. Then unashinda kwa hiyo limbo ya, but ni wewe, but ni mimi, but if you're kind and you're patient and you're willing to offer grace, and this should come very naturally when you love someone. You start to listen more, and tutachana na hizi arguments za, oh, men don't do this, women don't do this. Bruh, sisi mi nimelearn at 25 na sasa niko 27. Unaweza learn at 55, unaweza learn at 75. It's just a deliberation thing. You have to be very intentional, Useme. I want my relationship with QT to continue. So what do I have to do? She likes phone calls. Let me call her. Because it gives her the feeling she needs out of our relationship. Na mimi napenda kutextiwa. Ni text. Like, let's do that for each other because it's the love that we have going on. So you have to be very deliberate. Don't just sit back and say, she's my girlfriend. See, she lives with me. Ni hizo vitu ndogo kama kwambia mtu, you look beautiful today. Because if you don't ever tell them the whole year that they're beautiful, there's other people telling them and they start to notice, yo, CJ doesn't even compliment me. So how can he love me? And the last time he said I look good was 5 years ago, 3 years ago. You have to be very intentional, please. And work on your emotional intelligence. Let the men work on themselves so that they're able to communicate. And let the women teach themselves to create safe spaces for everyone. And I know there's someone who say, oh, but madam, ni sawa, nimewasikia na najua. Na najua pia machali wana go through, but let's put the work in.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so it's exactly 9 o'clock. Nimeona hapo team amefanya ile kitu, so we want to end it there. But I hope that you have picked something today, both sides of the spectrum. So both for the ladies,
Phyllis,
and also
just give me 30 seconds.
Yes, go ahead.
Say this.
Yes.
Especially for the men.
Right.
It's easier to leave, but also train yourself to speak out regardless of the reaction. Just train yourself to do that. You do the right thing, not because it will be received as the right thing, but because it is the right thing. So if the right thing is to talk about it and to communicate, even if you think there will be a repercussion, just train yourself. Yeah.
All right, and this is men, all those from boys are watching, all the way to teenage, what you're telling your parents to people in a relationship. Ongea tu, hata kama unajua madhewa na nini, kuna repercussion, ama father kuna repercussion, just talk. Say what it is you want to say, put it across. And yeah, I hope you'll be better after this. If you just caught this at the end, I'm so sorry, but you can go and catch it later on YouTube. And there are also some bits on Twitter, Citizen TV Kenya. Make sure you catch that as well. Make sure you follow out Roberta Bobby and also www.loveandorgasms.com and listen to her podcast as well. Cutie! Sikuzi ni Cutie Lady Josh.
Yes.
Yes, Cutie _ Lady Josh. Yes, on the Instagram. And then also listen to her alongside Shatta Boy every weekday from 10 to 1 on Wax Tikitaka pale Radio Citizen, who, according to the Aga Khan report, Gen Z wanawasikia sana. They are doing radio #1, Radio Citizen. And also make sure you follow at CJ. All these things are in books, by the way. So you can go ahead and reach out to him at CJ Atemo, ask him about his books, where they are bought. There are 9 going on 10, right? Or 10 going on 11. There are 10 going to 11. Yes, sir. So make sure you reach out to him for that as well. Peace, love, and unity.